Okay, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today on what is, well, probably the most neglected piece of technology in your car.
But also one of the most crucial.
Exactly. The humble turn signal, that little lever that, way too many people treat like it's optional.
It's the silent language of the road, and when people don't use it, you get chaos. We've gone through expert driving guides, legal manuals, and they all say the same thing,
What's that?
that the indicator has this huge outsized role in preventing crashes and just keeping traffic moving. It's really the secret to being a predictable driver.
I think that's the key word, isn't it? Predictable.
Right.
We're not just here to, read the traffic code. We're exploring why this simple flick of a switch is so foundational to defensive driving.
Precisely. Your turn signals are all about communicating your intent. They let everyone else, drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, see what you're about to do.
And react accordingly.
Right. When you forget to signal or you do it wrong, you're basically injecting uncertainty into a system that relies on certainty to be safe. And that's pure risk.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to clear up all of that uncertainty. We're going to give you clear, practical rules, talk about the legal side of things, and even get into those tricky situations like roundabouts.
Or what to do if your signals just stop working.
Yeah. The goal is to make you a more predictable, more confident, and frankly, a safer driver every time you get behind the wheel.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the absolute basics. It sounds simple, but when should you actually signal? What are the maneuvers that legally require it?
The list is probably longer than most people think. The rule of thumb is pretty simple. If you're not going straight, you need to signal.
Okay, so that means
That means turns at intersections, of course, but also changing lanes, merging onto a highway, exiting a roundabout, pulling into or out of a parking space.
even U-turns and pulling into your own driveway.
Especially those. That driveway one is a big one. People forget that pedestrians and cyclists on the sidewalk need to know what you're doing. They can't read your mind.
That's a great point. It's not just for other cars.
Not at all. It's for all road users.
All right, so once we know that we need to signal, the next question is when. And there are actual numbers for this, right? Specific distances.
There are, and they change depending on your speed and environment. It's all about giving other people enough time to react.
So what are we talking for, say, city driving?
In an urban or residential area, lower speeds, the legal minimum is almost always to signal at least 100 feet before your turn. That gives the driver behind you a few seconds to process it and adjust.
But 100 feet on a highway, that's gone in a second. That's basically no time at all.
It's dangerously short, which is why the sources are clear. On highways or faster rural roads, you need to signal much, much earlier, at least 200 feet, and honestly, even more is better.
Because the physics just demand it at that speed.
Absolutely. Not signaling early enough on a highway off-ramp is a classic cause of rear-end collisions.
Okay, here's the paradox, though, and this is something I think we've all seen. The person who signals like a quarter mile before their turn, we know we need to be early, but can you be too early?
You absolutely can, and it's just as dangerous. The whole point of a signal is to reduce confusion. Signaling way too early just creates a different kind of confusion.
How so? What does that look like in practice?
Well, imagine you're in the city. If you signal for a right turn 3 blocks early, every single driver behind you thinks you're turning at the next side street.
Or a driveway or an alley.
Exactly.
Right.
So they might slow down when they don't need to or try to swerve around you. Even worse, a pedestrian might see your signal, assume you're turning right there, and step into the crosswalk.
And they'd be making a decision based on bad information you gave them.
That's it. So the goal is precision. You need to be early enough for safety, but late enough that the signal is clearly tied to the one specific turn you're about to make.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Let's move on to some of those more advanced scenarios, the high difficulty stuff. Starting with just a simple lane change on the highway, how do you measure 200 feet for that?
You don't really. For lane changes, it's less about distance and more about time. You should be signaling for a solid 3 to 5 seconds before you even start to move over.
3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah. Think of it like a countdown for the cars in the other lane. It gives them plenty of notice that you're coming over so they don't have to slam on their brakes.
And what about overtaking? Passing another car, we signal to move out, but
Yeah.
do you have to signal to move back in?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a big one that people miss. You must signal twice.
So once to pull out into the passing lane.
Right. And then you signal again when you're clear and ready to return to your original lane. That second signal tells the car you just passed, hey, I'm coming back in now. Not doing it is how people get cut off.
Got it. Now, for the one that causes so much confusion,
Yeah.
the modern roundabout, it feels like nobody knows the rules.
It's multi-step, for
All right.
sure, but it's logical if you break it down into 3 parts. Approaching, being inside, and exiting.
Okay, let's start with approaching.
So as you approach, if you're taking the first exit, basically or a right turn, you signal right. If you're going way around to the third or fourth exit, you signal left.
And what if you're just going straight through to the second exit?
No signal.
Yeah.
You approach with your indicator off. That's the key.
So you enter silently if you're going straight. Then what?
Once you're in the roundabout and you've passed the first exit, then you signal right to show you're taking the next one, the straight ahead one.
Ah, so you're telling the people waiting to enter that you're about to get out of their way,
Precisely. And that brings us to the final unbreakable rule,
which is,
exiting. You always signal right just before you leave the roundabout. Always. It doesn't matter what signal you used to get in or if you use one at all. That right signal is the universal sign for I'm leaving now.
that structure is super helpful, but let's hammer home a really critical point here. It's easy to think, okay, I signaled, now I can go.
And that is a huge, dangerous mistake. Your signal is a statement of intent. It is not a claim to the right of way.
Say that again, because I think it's the most important thing we'll say today.
Putting on your indicator does not give you the right to turn. You still have to check. You still have to yield to oncoming traffic. You still have to yield to pedestrians. The signal is a request, not a command.
That's a perfect way to put it. Okay, but all of this depends on the equipment actually working. Let's pivot to troubleshooting. First off, is it actually illegal to just not use your signals?
Oh, absolutely. It's a primary offense, which means a police officer can pull you over just for that. You're looking at fines, points on your license, but the legal trouble can go way deeper.
You mean liability in an accident?
That's where it gets really expensive. If you fail to signal and it causes a crash, someone rear-ends you, or you cause a sideswipe, you can be found liable for all that damage.
And the insurance companies will definitely look for that.
You bet they will. A documented failure to signal can easily shift the majority of the fault and the cost onto you.
So let's keep them working. What are the simple checks you can do if your turn signals just stop working?
Start with the basics. The easiest thing to check is your hazard lights, your four-way flashers,
Why there?
because they often use the same bulbs and fuse. If your hazards work, the problem is probably with the turn signal stock itself. If they don't work, you might have a blown fuse or multiple dead bulbs.
And if you think it's a bulb?
Just visually inspect them, front and back. And if you replace one, make sure it's the exact same type your car manual specifies. If that doesn't fix it, the next stop is the fuse box.
Right. And what about that clicking sound we all know?
That's the relay, or the flasher. If you hit the signal and hear nothing, no click at all, the relay is probably bad.
Okay, this brings us to one of the coolest built-in features, decoding the blinks. If my dashboard indicator suddenly starts blinking really, really fast, what's my car trying to tell me?
That's a fantastic warning system. That rapid blinking almost always means you have a burned out bulb on that side of the car.
So it's a built-in diagnostic tool.
It is. The change in electrical resistance from the dead bulb makes the relay flash faster. It's your car's way of yelling, "Hey, go check your light."
And what if the light just comes on and stays solid, no blinking at all?
That's usually a bit more serious. A solid light often points to a bad relay that's stuck, or a fuse issue, maybe even a wiring problem. That might be one for a mechanic.
Okay, worst case scenario. The whole system is dead and you have to get home. You're still legally required to signal? Remind us of the hand signals.
Every driver should know these. For a left turn, your left arm goes straight out the window.
Easy enough.
For a right turn, left arm out and bent up at a 90-degree angle like a field goal post.
Got it. And for stopping.
Left arm out and bend down at a 90-degree angle. They're old school, but they're legal and they could save you from a collision.
That's really good to know. So let's finish up by talking about consistency and the philosophy of signaling. Should you signal when you're on a deserted country road with no one behind you?
Yes. 100% yes. 2 reasons. First is habit, muscle memory. You want signaling to be so automatic that you don't even think about it in a high-stress situation. If you only do it when you think you need to, one day you'll forget when it really matters.
And the second reason?
You're never as alone as you think you are. A cyclist could be coming up fast behind you. A car could pull out of a hidden driveway. A pedestrian could be obscured by bushes. Signaling protects you from what you can't see.
It's a guard against your own blind spots.
Perfectly put.
So what about the other side of that coin? What do you do when another driver doesn't signal? How do you defend against that?
You immediately go on high alert. First, back off. Create more space between you and them.
Increase your following distance.
Immediately. Second, you start looking for other clues. Is the car drifting in its lane? Are the wheels starting to turn? You become a student of that car's body language.
And you just assume they're going to do something unpredictable.
You have to. Be ready to yield, even if you have the right of way. It's always safer to just let them go than to insist on your position and risk a crash. Your safety is what matters. So if we pull this all together, the main takeaway is that signaling is all about being predictable, and predictability is the absolute foundation of safe driving. Oh, and one last practical tip. If you make a small turn, like a lane change, sometimes the signal doesn't cancel itself.
Right, the steering wheel doesn't turn far enough.
Exactly, so just glance at your dashboard and manually turn it off. A signal that's left on by mistake is almost as confusing as no signal at all.
That's a great final reminder. Before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one last detail to think about, something that shows how important this all is. The turn signals you see now on side mirrors. Why are they there?
Ah, that's a brilliant bit of safety design. It's all about eye level.
Eye level.
Think about it. A traditional turn signal is low on the car, but a signal on the mirror is right at the eye level of the driver in the car next to you. It's much harder to miss, especially if they're sitting in your blind spot.
So it's a redundancy, another layer of communication.
It is. It's proof that car designers are constantly trying to make this simple act of communication clearer and more effective. It's a fascinating blend of technology and simple safety.
It shows that we already have the tools to be safer. We just need to use them. So
Yeah.
go out there and be the most predictable, confident driver on the road.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.